Hello, I'm Josiah David, aka I2I35, and welcome to another episode of the Correcting SolRosenberg84 series. And I'm going to have to say this video, titled Transhumanism and Such, is real spam. Sol Rosenberg, aka Mikey, gets into such a fiery rage and starts spewing forth over and over and over, cussing and swearing. Again, cussing and swearing is degenerated sarcasm for those who have lost their decent vocabulary. They really don't know how to do proper exclamations or proper adjectives or whatever. They just think putting forth swearing or whatever is just going to make them right or whatever. I'm sorry, those who do that in debate of creation and evolution are always going to lose. And this is really like spam or whatever. He even blasphemes, and I'm going to have to say, atheists who use God's name as a cuss word, they're really contradicting their position. They are basically atheism is just about rejecting the gospel of Christ, not superstitious religion. And they always use God's name in their language for cussing or swearing, that kind of stuff. They're really contradicting their position. Okay? And basically, he thinks that he thinks that romantic things, romantic speakers, he says he hates them and stuff like that. Basically, Beethoven was one of the people of the Romantic period. And I think in the Romantic period, like beautiful music, beautiful poetry, stuff like that, I'm going to have to say that God has created us in a way to cherish those kind of things. He wants us to love those kind of beautiful things and such. And people who kind of hate it or whatever, I think they've really been brought up a shallow thinker and someone who like to think something beautiful is evil or whatever. But I'm going to say, you think we're in a technological age, we don't need any of that garbage. I'm going to have to say that people way back then were a lot smarter than us. I have evidence for this. People were not dumb people sharpening sticks at the fire, whatever that kind of made up nonsense. No, people were basically so smart as Adam came pre-programmed straight from the hand of God with a high IQ. He could walk, talk, name the animals, and get married all first day. He probably had an IQ of 4,000 or 5,000, I don't know, way up there someplace, and he learned how to do things and to spread it on to further generations. And again, he's saying, in order for our healings, we don't need Jesus or Muhammad. This is another one of the logical fallacies that atheists always do. They always they badmouth the gospel and always superimpose Islam on it. Islam has nothing to do with the gospel of Christ. It is a cult that I hate as much as you do. But the gospel of Christ is far from religion. Basically, Islam is, invented by a psychopath, by a murdering pedophile false prophet, who just as much as evolutionism, turning people into violent people, and how Sol Rosenberg84 gets all violent in this video, getting angry and such. I mean, man, of course we don't need religion. And I'm going to have to say, I'm not against technology. I'm against people's logic nowadays. I mean, technology is great. We're getting so far ahead in technology, flying cars or stuff like that. We're certainly getting smarter in our technology, but not in our minds. And you think that the problem is people. Yes, no question. Kent Hovind already made that clear to you a long time ago, who am I and what am I worth? Evolution says you're worth nothing. You're just something washed up on the beach and you're part of the problem. And the more of you we can get rid of, the better, because of pollution and such. I am against pollution and destroying things unnecessarily. We're supposed to be the stewards of this earth. But I'm going to say the major problem, why the world is so effed up, as you want to say, is because of sin. Sin is the reason why this world is going corrupt. And there are people out there who might not understand what sin is, and you just have to legitimately explain it to them. But I'm going to have to say spiritual healing, after understanding who Jesus is, and he died for our sins, and we're rejuvenated, and our lives are transformed, that spiritual healing has brought up many people in society, Christians in particular have given us a lot of benefits and such, and Christians are basically the ones who started science. And you say, your IQ is very high and your memory is very low. I'm just going to have to say that saying you have a high IQ, all right, I'm going to trust you did a test on that. But saying I have a high IQ, that's kind of smart. You really ought to watch out if you're being prideful or something like that. And you say your memory is quite low. Well, I'm going to have to say that I have a memory as well. I can remember what happened 5 years ago. Okay, 5 years ago we went to see the Chronicles of Narnia or whatever. I even remember one old man saying he was born in 1927, and several years later I said, "This is your 80th birthday," and he said, "Oh, wow, you remember that?" Oh, whatever. I'm not being prideful or anything. I'm just saying that people have told me themselves that I have a good memory. I'm not saying I have a good memory. I'm just saying that people have testified that of me. And you saying our human species is so, like, so gone wrong. There's no such thing as a human species. You're just giving a backstabbing oxymoron there. We are created distinctly apart from animals. Man is not an animal, but has dominion over them. I understand what people like to say they're like animals, because really animals seem to have more rights than people these days. But we are distinctly apart from animals. We have millions of nucleotides apart from animals. This saying like we're all one species or whatever, as you said in one of your future videos, is such a pseudoscientific flaw and fallacy. There's scientific evidence that we came from smart, intelligent, giant people, not primitives. And so you just kept on saying, well, F you, and stuff like that. I can't tell how much people might have thought this was really spam. I'm going to have to say this really counts to the height of spam or whatever. You got so sarcastic in this. No offense, but I'm going to have to say in a debate session or whatever, basically getting angry and stuff is no scientific attitude. And I don't want people to think that, oh, you're not allowed to comment on this, you're not allowed to, rebuttal on this. Hey, if there's an error in Mike's videos, I'm going to correct it, whether you like it or not. And I'm going to have to say, like, he's disseminating a pseudoscientific theory that has hindered spiritual healing. Basically, Darwinism saying, oh, it's just a chemical imbalance and you take drugs and you end up dying. People don't understand that spiritual healing is when you... you can just go to this video right here that I made about Sid Roth and so on, and how science is a good starter for anyone who wants, like, spiritual, emotional, or physical healing. It's a good way to understand it. So that's all I have to say for this video. So TTFN, ta-ta for now.